Welcome to Latino Reads, a weekly inspirational video podcast that highlights award-winning authors and leaders, exposes viewers to all types of books, and motivates thinking on a variety of topics. Your host is Maria Elena Cortez. Disfrute. Enjoy.
Hi, welcome to Latino Reads. I have with me today the first Chicana, Texas State Board of Education, Georgina Perez.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. And you are playing a very important role in our education system. And what I'm so proud of, you're the first Chicana.
Yes, it's. I'm very honored and very humbled by all of the community support and the support all across the state.
Yeah, and you know what? One of the things that comes up always is like, she should be called a Latina, she should be called Chicana. I want you to tell us the story behind that, because you're very proud of being a Chicana.
I am.
I want everybody to know that, and the students to differ from what
the
is
difference.
That? Yes.
Right. Well, I think I'll start with why I label myself Chicana. For me, somebody who is Chicana is very much in touch with their indigenous roots, First Peoples of the Americas, and why there is the distinction between Chicana and Latina is Latina may be the very large umbrella that labels all of us as one group, but when we have the ability and we control our own narrative to label ourselves, clearly we are not monolithic. Yes, and typically what happens is when you are called Hispanic, it's a label that somebody else placed upon you, right? And so I choose to recognize my indigenous roots. I choose to recognize that I am raza. Yeah. And when people ask me, how do you identify? I am very proud to say I am Chicana.
That's right. Yes, and I love that. I love that because then a lot of the students, sometimes they're embarrassed or afraid to say where they come from,
yes,
what country they represent.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm just saying I love to call myself Mexican American,
yes,
Chicana también,
yes,
and it's something we need to be proud of. And
absolutely.
I used to be offended when people would call me other names.
Yes.
But then, I'm thinking, well, they just don't know. So
I'm not
gonna get mad.
But it's a very valuable learning opportunity.
Exactly.
Somebody calls me Chicana or Latina, I say, well, I'm not Latina, I am Chicana, right? And it doesn't have to be something that is offensive to me, nor does it need to be something offensive that somebody may have mislabeled me in error. It's just clearly a very valuable learning opportunity.
That's right.
Yes.
And now you were part of the Libro Traficante
movement,
yes, and you helped organize in El Paso. So tell us about that experience, because I love banned books.
Yes.
They're always
the best books.
They're the best books, and they're keeping them off the shelves for some odd reason. I don't know, but it actually increases the sales. So.
Yes, and so every time we talk to an author about their book being banned, they say, well, I'm thrilled to be on the banned book list because now I have more attention to my book and greater sales. And I think, well, from one perspective, that's great because, yes, you do have more attention and it does inspire particularly our young readers to look at the book and develop a greater interest in it. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, when we look at why books are banned to begin with, typically it is for reasons that do not support mainstream dominating class, yeah, right? Yeah. And so when we look at a book like House on Mango Street, de Sandra Cisneros, if you've never read that book, one, read it. Number two, once you've read it, try your best to figure out why it's banned. And what we had concluded is that simply because of who Sandra is as a woman, as a Chicana, and she's labeled as subversive for whatever reason. And the book has nothing to do with anything other than regular everyday life for 53% of our Chicano Latino students in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's lack of it's ignorance and lack of knowledge because they don't even read
It's
the
a
books.
great deal of ignorance. I can tell you, when books are banned, it's not by a body of people that have actually read the book. When books are banned, it's misinformation, ignorance, lack of knowledge that is shared amongst groups of people that are ultimately uneducated, unfortunately.
That's right. But one of the things I wanted to ask you was, you're a writer because you write curriculum, you write, you celebrate writing in different forms.
Yes.
So I would like you to share that with our Latino Read audience.
In El Paso, we have an organization called Tu Libro, which is part of Libro Traficante. We take it upon ourselves to develop home libraries for everybody to celebrate culturally and historically responsive and reflective literature. We do this so that way reading is not a task or a homework that you go do in your room. It's something that is shared by the family, and you place a book on the table and you look at it and all of the beautiful conversations that come from that. And as an educator who looks at every student in the classroom and develops lesson and lesson framework that is reflective of every child in the classroom, I started developing lesson framework to give away to our teachers, because we know that whatever you are most comfortable with is what you will use in the classroom.
That's right.
And the more access you have to it, the more knowledge you have about it, the more likely you are to use it. We also have empirical analysis that tells us without a doubt that this is one of the most successful ways to bring our children all the way through the pipeline to higher education. Seeing themselves in books, seeing themselves in curriculum, seeing themselves in the schools and in their communities in a positive light. They become active participants in their education and then active participants in a democratic society.
That's right.
So what I write is the curriculum for teachers to have free access to, download, print, and ultimately use with their students.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's awesome. And it makes it so personable. So that's the reason they identify and they connect. And,
Yes.
And they're proud.
They're very proud.
That's
They
beautiful.
they see themselves through the eyes of love and respect. When you were going to school, how frequently did you read a book of a young woman who looks like you, talks like you, comes from the neighborhood you come from, eats the same food that you eat, and does something beautiful in her community, beautiful for her world?
Yeah.
It's very rare. It
Rare.
never happened when I was in elementary school or middle school. It didn't happen until I was in college.
Yeah.
But that's because we have the privilege of acquiring that education.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of our students get that. So that is a clear message to us
Yeah.
to bring it to our younger students.
That's right. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. So I look forward to maybe in the future working together with some
Absolutely.
projects and continue to inspire our Latino Reads video podcast, but inspire our community.
Absolutely.
Our Chicanos,
Our Latinas.
Latinas, yeah, whatever you want to call yourselves.
Our
But
Mexican Americans.
we are all here in the United States together,
Yes.
and we should learn from one another and embrace our culture, embrace our history as well.
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
needed in the classroom.
Yes, as the largest and fastest growing demographic in Texas schools, in the state and in the nation, obviously these are needs that affect all of this.
Yeah.
This is not only a Chicano issue, this is not only a Latino issue, this is a human issue.
That's right.
And we can no longer accept the fact that the Chicano Latino population is the largest demographic to drop out of school.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And I just want to ask you, the last question is,
Yes.
how do you want to be remembered? Because now you're playing this important role. It's a huge, big responsibility.
Yes.
But how do you want to be remembered? And what kind of message would you give to our listeners?
Sitting on the State Board of Education, I am there with a specific focus on the most marginalized students. And my goal is to make sure that the students who need the most receive the most. So I think the way that I would hope to be remembered is that I was successful in my goal to change the data, to dramatically reduce the dropout rate, the push-out rate, to dramatically increase educational opportunity for all of our marginalized students and disenfranchised communities. And maybe there will be a young Chicana say, look at what she did. I can do that.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you for doing what you do. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so
Te
much.
deseo mucha suerte.
Gracias.
And thank you for joining Latino Reads, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.